Okay. So Fluidity, Janelle Monáe, you may be diametrically opposed to the phrase go with the flow, but the Janelle Monáe card advises you to do just that. The moments you're unsure where life will take you are precisely the ones that may hold beautiful experiences you didn't know you needed. Don't adhere too strictly to standards that haven't served you. Loosen up your grip a bit. Hold off the tightrope and say, the hell with it. When you stop caring what people think, your own thoughts can prevail, and those bright ideas could be hidden figures you've needed the whole time. So those are our words for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
The four words underneath Fluidity are experimentation, flow, freedom, and exploration.
Fuck that.
She is.
Well, that's kind of what we were told to do at the end of our session with Robin too.
To just flow.
Mm-hmm.
Just go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that note, where the hell do we go from here?
I need an update on Ice Cream Week.
Oh man, guys. It was a great success.
Cass, are you thinking we didn't even talk about it?
No, I said I didn't get a picture.
I did not take as many pictures on my phone. Anthony has some on his. I can send you guys a few.
Yes, please.
Ice Cream Week was a big success. Hayden made $15.75 and sold out of his ice cream in less than an hour.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Where was his ice cream?
So, just right in front of the house.
Okay, nice.
Yep. Yeah. So like all of the neighbors on our street came over and bought ice cream with their kids. And then there were some cars that drove by like two different houses on our street, and they like stopped. One of them stopped and like gave Hayden just some money, like a donation.
That's awesome.
Another one stopped and bought ice cream. So yeah, he sold out real quick. So now he's like, you got to make more ice cream, Mom, so we can do this again.
Well, now you have the ice cream truck. So
yeah, although I don't know how long I want to keep that up in the house because it can't really be broken down and it's kind of large. And as you guys both know, my house has enough space for all of us and all of our things and not really a whole lot more. So it's currently sitting at the front door and it is large and in charge, but I will text you guys pictures right now so you can see what I did take.
Definitely want.
Or did you make homemade ice cream that everyone bought? Or did you buy
I did.
Okay, nice.
Oh no, Hayden and I made ice cream from scratch. I'll send you pictures. We made chocolate and we made vanilla. So,
and Cass, I loved the Marco Polo with chocolate all over her hands. That was the best.
Why am I not seeing Marco Polos right now, guys?
You didn't see that one?
Please hold. I have a beetle on my foot.
Ooh.
Okay. Sorry. Needed to go.
Was it big?
I don't know. I'm in Canada, so like maybe 7 centimeters. Metric system.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that was so cute. She was sitting in the back seat, just like all happy and just like covered in chocolate.
Oh,
yeah. It was mid-road trip yesterday because our road trip got changed. It was supposed to be a quick 5 hours an hour in the car, 3 hours on the ferry, and half an hour in the car. And it turned into 4.5 hours in the car, a 3-hour ferry, and then another 2 hours through 2.5 hours in the car.
That's a lot.
But we made it. So yes, at the midpoint when she was losing her shit slightly before nap time while we were waiting in line for the ferry, a Canadian KitKat did come in handy. So
Canadian KitKat, are they different from a US KitKat?
Yeah, they're not as sweet. They're actually much better.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why is that? They don't use modified.
Their ingredient list for a KitKat's only like 5 ingredients.
I love that.
What?
We bought a box, so
yeah.
But yes, it's like cocoa powder. It's like actual like cocoa powder, coconut oil, like 2 other things, and like super super clean. So yeah, unlike the
No
US.
idea.
32 ingredients for a Kit Kat. I don't know that, but that's what I'm guessing.
I
Yeah.
feel like if that's what you guess, that's probably what it has in it,
So,
or something right around there.
yeah, but no.
Jade, give us an update. What's new and exciting?
I'm
with you?
literally like minutes off of vacation mode. And so I'm trying to readjust my brain. So my kids are on vacation with their dad and we were going to go away, but I had a bunch of bar shifts and I didn't want to give them up because I need to work. But also it's gorgeous here again. It was cold for a while. And so it's so beautiful. And apart from working, we literally spent like every minute outside. So we walk around, we invite friends, we had a bonfire, we played games, we went to our friend's house, we gardened, we've like barely been inside. Sat on the front
What
porch.
did you do in the garden?
We are still working on turning the drug house rock garden into a lush, fertile place. Yeah, we found so many needles in this bed, this rock
Yikes.
bed. Lots of needles, lots of like really dangerous garbage.
Is it the one
just-
in the back of your house? Like,
Yep.
okay.
Yep, in the back.
Oof.
So it's taken us 2 seasons to get it even to grow anything because the earth was like, it was just horrible. So we keep putting mulch in it and like topsoil in it and working it in. And like we bought ground cover and we're just we don't treat our house like a rental. We're doing a lot of labors of love that, we're trying to keep it cheap because we don't get to keep this house, but fun things. I like to garden. So yeah, I've had a really, really good weekend and I work again tonight. So I'm still kind of just
Swedes or Anna's?
Swedes.
Well, that'll be fun.
I will. Be fun. And I'll go back outside later. I just cannot stop going outside when it's like this. It's like a permanent vacation.
What's the weather like there?
It's 72 degrees on the lake and sunny.
Oh my goodness.
So if you're 2 miles west of here, it's hot, but here it's perfect. Like always. And so there's like this constant breeze off the lake and the lake is just so beautiful. And it's like a block away from my house. So I just keep going down there. We'll take chairs, we'll sit at it, we'll walk down to it. So, it's just, it makes it, we're trying to, you have to like make up for the rest of the year living in Wisconsin in 4 months. Yeah. Cass knows.
I get that.
Same thing in Maine.
They have a jacket on right now.
Yeah. Jacket in almost July.
Correct. So, well, it's not even high season up here yet. High season doesn't start for another 2 weeks. So their season is even shorter than ours. Because I was gonna go kayaking because we have kayaks too at this house, which is really lovely. But the water is like 42 degrees.
Oh.
So I'm
so
like,
you do not want to get in that.
My kayak, that could go very dangerous very quick.
That's a cold plunge.
It is
Jade would want to do that.
Yeah.
Well, isn't it? I think it's 52 to 58 degrees is considered an ice bath, if I remember correctly. Right. And so 42 is not even like, that's too cold. I wouldn't want
That's
it.
frigid.
But there's a hot tub on the other side, and that is 40 degrees Celsius. So I don't know what that is.
You have a hot tub?
It's warm enough to get in. Yes, we do. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Then I could probably go in the frigid water if I could jump right into the hot tub.
Are there fish in the lake
there
behind you?
There are fish and otters and loons and
otters.
Yep, we saw ducks this morning, and it's funny because we were just at the store, and Amelia has a tendency to run as quickly as possible away from us. So we were just sitting out here after, and there was like a mom duck and like 6 little babies, and they were all in a perfect line. I looked at Tom. I said, "Why isn't natural selection a thing for us?" Like, because I was like, had a ducks swimming the other way across the pond. I was like, there instead of 6 ducklings, there'd be 5.
Correct. Well, there's a song about that.
There's a song about that. I don't know that.
Yeah. There's like a nursery rhyme about the little ducks. And the one that float away. And then there were 2 little ducks, and then there was 1 little duck. You don't, I will send it to you. I'm not going to sing it.
I was gonna say, will
because
you sing it?
no,
Jade, do
I'm
you
not
know
going
what
to
she's
sing
talking
it.
about? You know all the lyrics.
One little duck down. No, that's not it. Is it that one? Are you trying to think of the tune?
Yeah, I'm trying. Hold on. It's
We
been a
did
minute.
while you're pulling it up, we did have a fun crossing the border experience because
Ooh.
I refuse to say that traveling with children's is a vacation because it's not. So
They're like, why are you coming into Canada? Not for vacation, clearly.
A trip.
Children.
well, I said
It's
I said it's a family trip. So she's like, oh, so you have family up here? I said, no, it's just our family. And she didn't quite understand. So Tom's like, we're gonna get deported. I was like, well, I said it's not a vacation. So she's like, so it's a vacation. I was like, yeah, I guess so.
Not with
If
kids,
you
it's not.
Meanwhile, Amelia's
must
back
call it
going,
that.
hi, bye.
Yeah, you said Amelia said bye, like started
Yes,
saying bye,
bye.
like we've had enough of you. Goodbye.
Correct. So I was waiting for them to be like, turn around, drive back to me.
After all of that.
No, I totally concur though. It isn't a vacation when you have your kids, even when they're older, like I don't know. It's just
When does it
can't
start being a
relax.
vacation again?
So I was trying to think of that. Like I went on vacation with just Audrey when she was an adult. As long as they're all adult aged.
Like 18
My
or like
kids.
21 drinking age or like
No, my girls, I can have fun with them, but if we have like even Eric's sons, then it's not as fun for me. It's just too many people. But if it's just my
For
girls,
those of us
yeah.
that don't have 20 children.
Yeah,
when does-
exactly. My girls though, any day of the week, I would always have fun with them.
even when they were like, 5 and 2.
Even when they were little, I would road trip with them before Jack was born, before I had 4, just the 3 girls, we would do road trips. We would always have fun together. Yeah. My girls. Yeah.
I'm wondering if hindsight is 2020 and better than what it was actually in the moment.
Or
Yeah.
maybe if it was just you guys, you were escaping from the reality of the
I was
situation.
I was going to say it wasn't fun if their dad was there,
Mhm.
but if it was just us, then we always had fun. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So I think, I don't know. It just depends.
like for instance, Amelia was eating cheese today. Cheese should be a happy experience. Do we all agree?
Right. Cheese.
Amelia shoved too many pieces of cheese in her mouth and proceeded to projectile vomit on our pretty patio. Like exactly.
Yeah.
Vacation. Ah. So
it's things like that. Yep. I know.
I
Too
mean,
much
yes,
work.
it's still fun if you zoom out, but I'm like, really, I'm literally scraping up vomit off of I was like, Tom, bring me a couple liters of water. Because again,
Leaders. You're really dead set on being Canadian. aren't you?
so anyway,
I love it. You're like, when in Rome.
I will
You
report
know?
back that the Costco in Canada is phenomenal. So
They have good stuff.
they really do.
Okay. So I'm going to read the lyrics to the duck song
Okay.
because I found them. So it's 5 little ducks went out one day over the hill and far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 4 little ducks came back. And then you count 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you start over. 4 little ducks went out one day over the hill and far away. Mother duck said quack, 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 but only 3 little ducks came back.
Yeah.
I
And then
can
you count
adopt
one,
You don't have to say all of
2,
them,
3.
Kaylin. You don't.
I will not.
Ready?
I will
So
not.
Here I go adopting that song. 4 little shucks went out one day. 3 came back. Quack, quack.
Over the hill and far away.
And you can also add, 5 little ducks went out one day over the hill and far away. You can do
the
that.
best
too.
part though is the end because it says sad mother duck went out one day. That's after all the ducks go away. Over the hill and far away, mother duck said quack, 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 and all of 5 little ducks came back.
Oh, that is the saddest part because they all came back.
No.
Mother Shuck said, quack, 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 Chardonnay. Okay. Anyway, we should get back on track. We have a guest today.
Yes, we
Chardonnay.
do. We do.
Monique is
Monique.
joining us. Jade, give us a quick of who we're talking to.
Well, Monique is beautiful inside and out, and she is such a badass. She's such a hard worker, very successful. And I am really curious to hear what she wants to talk about today. She wasn't quite sure what she was going to want to share, but whatever it is, it's going to be interesting.
Well, can't wait.
Without further ado.
Welcome, Monique. It's so good to have you and to talk to you again. It's been a few weeks since we chatted.
Thank you. Thank you, Jade. It's nice to see you again as well.
Yeah, we had such a good session, and I think you have such a unique little sun, moon, rising combo, right? Sun in Aquarius and the moon in Libra and rising in Sagittarius. So we just went through your whole birth chart together, and that was really a good time. What kind of stood out to you in that conversation that we had?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I've been doing, and I told you this during our session. I've been working with and really into astrology since I was a child, and have been looking at it and meeting with people and professionals in this area and getting my birth chart read. And it's funny that every single person, an astrologer that you meet with, every single person has something that they tune into that's different, right? From others. So for you, what you really tuned into was really like at the heart of what I was at that moment struggling with, right? And it was more in tune with the wounding, right? The inner child wounding and healing that inner child. And also you said something about like, right now and moving into like the next year, it's a really heavy on relationships, love, and giving yourself what you feel you need to like kind of heal those child wounds. Which is really what I was going through, and I have been going through kind of in the last couple years. And apparently it's going into. I was like, oh, I hope it's gonna. I think I said to you, I was like, does it end?
Is there an end in sight, please?
Stop.
Yeah.
And you're like, like you might have,
you got
like, it's gonna like settle down, but then it's like it's gonna start up again with like all the wounding and stuff. So I was like, oh, but like doing the work now, I think is really what you said, like you're doing the work, right? You're like delving into those things and recognizing what needs to be healed. And so when that time in like 2 years from now or 3 years from now, I think you said, is when it's really going to like be heavy hitting, you're already going to be, you understand, know the processes, how to cycle through that with more ease. And that was helpful, but that was something I was already kind of like going through. And the other thing you pointed out was really like now is a time for growth and spiritual growth, and also really focusing on what your calling is, right? Like what's your, like, what do you feel like to build, right? What do you want to build in this lifetime? Like, what do you want to achieve? And it was funny because I had been like the month before we, like basically the start of this year, I was really gung-ho about like, okay, this is what I want to do. And this is what I want to create. And this is my life purpose. And this is what I need to bring to like the masses. And I was already like on that path, and then it was showing up in my chart, right? Like this is in line with what I'm thinking. And so it's like sometimes when we don't necessarily like look to astrology to tell us things, like we're already kind of like doing them or thinking them, but it's almost like confirmation, like yes, you're on your right path, or you're yes, this is where you're supposed to go. Because a lot of times people have this like tug and pull, right? Like we have our inner voice and our calling, and our intuition is telling us, this is what I feel, this is what I want, this is like what's kind of driving me. But then the society, the parents, the friends, just life is telling us something different, right? We're being told from our past conditioning and our past, just society. I want to just say it. It's like, we're in this matrix of society, and they're telling us what's right and what's wrong, and how to do things and how to behave, and how we can go about achieving things and what is not worthwhile. And that's just not the case, right? It's like you can achieve whatever you want. And it's those fears and that negative little voice in your head that's telling you, no, you can't, or you shouldn't. Or, you tried this before and it didn't succeed. So why go down that path again? Right. For whatever it is, it could be love. It could be, fear-based in relationships. It could be fear-based in career. It could be anything, right, that you're looking to succeed in life. And when you have those fears that kick in sometimes, and a lot of the time, I'd say the majority of people allow those thought processes in our minds to consume how we then act. And so I think that when you have, especially that struggle internally with what your heart and your soul and your gut is telling you of where you want to be and where you want to go, and that's in conflict with your mind, then these things, these spiritual and astrological practices like astrology can kind of give us that kind of like backup to say, yes, you are on the right path. And look, this is meant to happen, and you're supposed to be doing this. And look, it's gonna succeed, because it's showing that when you follow this path, right, you're gonna end up blooming, or you're going to end up in a good place. Whereas if you don't follow it, who knows, right? You're going to be stuck, which is what most of the time what happens. So I think that that's kind of like where when I look to astrology, it's more kind of like, okay, kind of like a confirmation of what I already know deep down inside. And it's helpful in that respect.
Yeah.
What was your
1000%.
introduction to kind of like this realization, or this like knowing that, everything is always going to work out? That wasn't something you were born with, right? You're not one of the very few lucky gurus on this planet.
I don't think any, I mean, unless you have honestly, because I was a psychology major in college. I've always been, Carl Jung. I've done extensive studies on the mind and body connection and thinking and all of that. And that wasn't just recently, it's been part of my kind of existence and repertoire. But no, I mean, unless you're one of the, I want to say 1% of the entire population, where you grew up in a very healthy, loving home environment with zero issue, with no stress, where you had
1% of 1%, girl.
Exactly. I don't know the statistics. I'm throwing something out there, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like the majority of us do not have that. The majority of us have conflict at a very early age. We have divorce, we have death, we have sexual abuse. We have, there's even just other trauma, narcissistic parents, or somebody who wasn't supportive. And then you also have, outside of your home, the school system. I mean, just the way that our society is structured. If you look at it, just looking at like how we're structured as a society, we're at a very young age being told, don't be a child, don't play, don't live to your fullest potential. This is not going to work out. In order to be anything in this world, you have to work hard. That is BS. Okay. Like, you can live your dreams at an early age. You can manifest a beautiful life without working hard, with traveling the world if you want, with staying at home if you want, and being a full-time mom. I'm a single mom, like truly single mom, no real help unless I pay for it, right? Like, I don't have family close by that I can just drop my son off. I don't have parents that are helping me with my child. I have my own business. I've done it all on my own. I work from home. I'm completely remote. How did I do that? I had it in my mind, this is the life I want. And I want to be able to have enough money to travel the world. I used to live in Hawaii, so I want to go back as many times as I want throughout the year, right? And so how do I create this life? How do I do this? And the way you do that is you have that concept in your head, and you have that vision, and then you listen to your gut and how to create that. And that's exactly what I did to get here. And I'm not done, right? Like I'm not done, because then I have more visions all the time, and I want to take it to the next level. And I want to, now like bring my vision to other people and helping them. But no, like I grew up in an environment where I was told no all the time, where I was told you have to work hard, where I was told not to follow your dreams, right? Where I wanted to be a dancer. I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a chef. And all those I was told were not good careers, right? Don't follow your dreams. Don't follow your passions, because it's not going to work out, and you're not going to make money, and you're not going to have a life, right? And so it's later on in life where I went through these processes, where I recognizing, hey, like, no, maybe this many percentage of people in the world actually are successful doing those things, but it's not because that they had some special talent. It's because they went after it, right?
Was that before you became a single mom, or was that after you became a single mom? You had that moment.
That was before I had that moment. So my story is I lost my mother when I was 5 years old, very suddenly, from an aneurysm. So I was put to bed at night, and the very next morning woke up and she was gone. It was like life changed overnight. Didn't have any explanation. Wasn't told what had happened by any adult in my life. I had to figure it out at 5 years old, what happened. There was no counseling. There were no services. Nobody explained it really. And then, I don't fault the adults in my life. It's just, they were so consumed, I want to say, with their own struggles and their own processing, that they were not capable of providing me as 5-year-old Monique of what I needed. Right.
Yeah.
So I struggled. I had to grow up very quickly. I had to basically fend for myself, live for myself at a very young age without support in the way that I needed it. Right. Did I have a roof over my head? Of course. Right. But I didn't have emotional support. I didn't have stability in my life. I was grasping onto that throughout my existence. I realized at a very later time, didn't recognize this until probably very recently, like in the last few years, but was grasping onto that sense of security and love and completeness from other people in my sphere, in my life. A lot of times romantic partners, sometimes friendships. At a younger age, I was trying to like grasp onto that from like close friends or other people, that I had developed these close-knit relationships to. And what happens when you do that, like you're not healing yourself. You're not healing and giving yourself what you needed back then. And so it was through a lot of inner child work, looking at the deeper issues. This past year, I started doing hypno breathwork therapy. Oh my goodness. If anybody out there is dealing with any type of emotional, deep-seated trauma, emotional, kind of disconnect, especially where they are feeling it come out in pain, physical ailments, or other disease in the body, I completely recommend getting in touch with a very good certified hypno breathwork therapist, because I want to say that I've tried various modalities for healing throughout my lifetime. And this has been, I think, the number one thing that I was like, whoa, like, what is this? When I had my first session, I was not expecting it to be like that, but it was life-changing for me. And I just started that this spring, and have been able to, in a few sessions, feel just transformed and clear out so much that I've been like realizing was stuck in my body, manifesting itself physically through my body and mind, that I was not able to really connect to my higher self in a real way because of that sitting inside of me. And with that release, I opened up my third eye more. I was able to become more intuitive. I was able to have more downloads about, really like what I need to do to get to where I need to be in life, personally, professionally, spiritually. And it really helped me. So if anybody out there wants a great contact, I have a wonderful hypno breathwork therapist that I've been working with, and she is amazing. I like 100,000% recommend her.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I came upon, when I started this kind of realization, it was kind of forced upon me. I had been kind of going through my life, I think like the majority of people do.
As they always are, forced upon us.
We always are. So it's like, nothing's wrong. Or it's like, you're not satisfied. There's this deeper calling, like I'm not really happy or joyful with my existence. And we're all, and the majority of people, right, we're looking to outside things to fulfill us internally. And I was one of those people. And I think, like I said, nobody wakes up this way. You go through something that puts you down this path. And what really kind of started the awakening process for me was a near-death experience. When my son was born, I started having these kind of like little here and there awakening of like what I wanted for him. And I didn't want him to go down the same path that I went through. And then in late 2017, early 2018, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease in 2014, and was able to get on medication and stabilize it and was in remission. And then I was making all these decisions. I want to say they were decisions that I thought were right decisions at the time, but I was functioning not from my gut. I was going against my gut. Right. And not listening to my intuition. I was very, very strongly going against my intuition because I was like, well, this is a practical choice. This is a choice that's going to be secure, or, whatever it was at the time. I made those decisions against what my inner self was telling me to do. And obviously the universe was like, no. It was a very clear no. You should have listened to your gut, and I'm going to bring back your disease full force, and I'm not going to allow you to make those wrong choices ever again. And so the Crohn's came back very suddenly when, like, basically I put roots down with my son's dad in Miami, bought a house, and it was like right after I bought that house with him that the disease came back. And I was not able to, and I never wanted to move to Miami. I never wanted to live there. There were issues going back with his father that it was just, I'm not going to get into it. We don't have enough time. But there were, it was obviously not a good decision in so many ways. And I knew that, but I still went ahead and did it. Right. And I had gone against my inner self and what my true soul was telling me I should do, because it was coming from fear. I was leading with fear and not listening to my voice. And so what happened was I got sick again and I could not get on a medication to get me better. And that lasted over a year. So into early 2019, I was down. I was probably hospitalized like 3 or 4 times in 2018 for different extended periods of time. I had many emergency room visits. I was, by August of 2018, I was down to 80 pounds. I was literally skin and bones. My normal weight is between like 110 and 120. Where I'm healthy, and I was down to 80 pounds. And if you do the way to conceptualize how skinny I was is, I mean, if you've seen any documentary about females that are struggling with like anorexia or like a major eating disorder where they need to where they're seeking help at that point. Like I remember watching a documentary on women living with anorexia. And I looked at them and I was like, oh my God, I look worse than that. I
Mm.
looked sicker and skinnier and more emaciated than these women that were, you know, with this disease. And there was nothing I could do about it. I wanted to eat. I wanted to nourish myself. I wanted to stay hydrated. I wanted to be healthy because that was my lifestyle before. I'm a yoga instructor. I was going to the gym twice a day and yoga every day, hot yoga, and doing all these things and working with personal trainers, and fitness and health was such a big part of my existence. And then I get to this place where I can barely get out of bed. I'm like bedridden. I can't move. I need to like let someone know if I'm going to go shower because my blood pressure was so low. Like I could have passed out. I had to like hold on to a railing just to walk up 2 stairs. I couldn't lift my child. You know, and so it put me in this state where I was like dying. I was dying. And in so much pain and having night sweats. If anybody knows about Crohn's, there's so many other symptoms just besides not being able to retain nutrition. There's so many other symptoms. It's like having COVID. I want to say, because I've experienced, you know, flu, like the major flu-like symptoms and having COVID. It's like having COVID every day of your life. And then not being able to function, but needing to function because there's nothing you can do about it. It's not like it goes away. It's not like you see an end. There's no end in sight. And so it can become very debilitating, not just physically, but mentally for you, right? Because there's no real end to this disease. There's no cure. And so there's a lot of people that go in remission for various reasons, but there's no real cure. And so during that time, I really started, like, I was, you know, in bed, not being able to function. And I really turned more so to my spiritual side. And because it was really all I had left. I couldn't function. I couldn't do anything. I had to take a leave of absence from the law firm where I was working because of it. I could not function physically. I couldn't really take care of my child. And I started looking at all the areas of my life that kind of I realized led me to this point, and that I needed to change. And I was basically, it started with my son and being a mother first, and asking the universe and God and praying to my angels, you know, my deceased mother, my deceased grandparents, which I felt them during that time. I could feel them like with me when I could feel them. Like I was so close, like the veil between the worlds was so thin that I could literally like feel them in like with me, and I could speak to them. And I was asking daily, you know, please let me get better. And I made a pact in that moment. And I said, I'm going to get better. This isn't the end for me. I'm going to be there for my child. And when I do, I will make sure that I do XYZ. And basically all those things that I had in my gut that I was like, you should do this, and you should make this decision, and you should move here, and you should work on these things and build your own business and be a mother and spend more time with your son and work all this out. And all those things that I had like gone against, which I believed brought me to that deathbed moment. I said, I'm going to make these changes. And I made that pact and prayed for months. And early of 2019, after over a year of dealing with really like deathbed kind of circumstances, I finally was able to get into a program where I was on a medication that lasted, I want to say 2 to 3 months. It worked for me before my body rejected the medication, because they kept trying to get me on new medications and my body was just rejecting them. And I tried holistic, naturopathic, doctors, all different, nothing was working. Finally, after I made these kind of like spiritual pacts with the universe and started like, you know, affirming this is going to happen and I'm going to do this and I'm going to get better, and doing these affirmations and being grateful for what I did have, I was able to get on a medication that basically got me better for 3 months, where I was able to put the weight on. And it was in those 3 months where I was like, okay, it's go time. I'm going to make all these changes. And I was literally in $60,000 worth of credit card debt at the time because I wasn't able to work, and I was like putting everything on credit cards and needing to support my family and my life still. And I started my own practice, my own law firm with $60,000 plus in credit card debt and nothing in the bank and no financial backing or support, and was just like, okay, I'm better and I need to do this because I basically was like, that I prayed for this. I'm given this opportunity now that I'm physically able to, I need to make it all happen. And in that next year, I started my own law firm. I got rid of all my credit cards. I was able to pay off and reduce all my credit card debt. I was able to relocate back to a place that I felt safe and secure with my son. And it's only been up, going up and, better since then.
Curious, John, kind of
Yeah.
jumping this forward a little bit. Now with the clients that you work with, do you see them having kind of a common thread or a tie where they don't believe there's an end in sight, that, they're a product of their circumstances? Do you feel like you're now helping the former version of you?
Definitely. I mean, I think that's anybody who's a healer or a coach that hasn't gone through something I wouldn't say horrific, but hasn't gone through some life-changing, altering experience in order to get through things and bring it to people, their story and their gifts and their learning process with others is probably not somebody you really want to take advice from. I mean, I know, you want to go to people that have had that experience and that you see that they've come out of it and they've been successful. And I'm not saying that I don't struggle. I struggle daily. Like it's not like it's a magic wand where all of a sudden like you're better, right? Or you think differently. You need to train yourself and continue up. Just like when I go to if I say I want my body to look a certain way, right? I want these results in the gym. You don't just go for a month and then don't keep up with it afterwards, right? This is something that you keep up with. And so, yeah, the people that come to me, they're from everywhere. There's people with different levels, I think, to answer your question. Like, there's friends, family, colleagues at different levels of their journey. And some people have really gone through life altering things where it's kind of like smacked them in the face. And now they're like, whoa, like I didn't know that things were so bad, but now I need to like do a rehaul of my life, right? And then there's other people that are kind of complacent, but they just want something more, right? They want something more, and they know there's something better out there than how they're existing. And it's kind of just getting them into a different mindset to say, hey, you can get to do and be whatever it is you're thinking, whatever your dreams have been. Like a lot of people have these childhood dreams and they let those sit aside, like they push them aside because they think they're not practical. And that's also like, if you had a dream, right? Like there's a reason why you had that dream in your mind in the first place. There's a reason that was in you. And by not allowing yourself to even attempt to fulfill that, you're doing yourself a disservice, right? And so it's getting people in the right state of mind to kind of push them and help them, and not a way that's saying like you have to do X, Y, or Z, because everyone has free will. Everyone is going to make their own decisions. And I've had friends that I've tried to help, and in the end they get to a certain point and then they reject it, right? They reject it because they're rejecting themselves, right? They're afraid. It's that fear. But that's not for as someone who's an empath and who wants to help people and coach people, that's free will stepping in. And you have to understand, and I understand that there's times when you can only help people to a certain point, and at the end they need to learn to help themselves. And that's what it's all about. It's what I want to do is to give people the tools and the information so that they can help themselves discover the things that are going to excel them.
Beautiful. And where can, give us all the information, where we can send people to find you.
Absolutely. So I have a couple, I have a website right now for my law practice. It's estate and family lawyer, all spelled out.com. If you keep tabs on there, I'm going to be I'm in the process of creating my coaching and spiritual site, which should launch in September. And I'll have links on there to that site. So when it gets up and running, people will be able to directly access for those other services as well. And then I also, social media. So if they want to follow me, it's on my social media. I post a lot of things, and I'm going to be posting the launch of different things and retreats that are coming up. I have a retreat coming up, a women's wellness retreat that's coming up in September as well. So all of this is kind of going to be posted on my social media. So you can look me up on Facebook. It's my name, Monique Sadarangani, Sadarangani. And then Monique_Margo, Margo for Instagram. And so once I have all these other things launching, those will be posted on my social media. So feel free to follow me there, and more stuff will be coming in the works down the road.
Cool. We'll make sure
Very
to
cool.
help those out in the show notes. So people
Yeah,
can
we'll link them all out. That
Perfect.
long last
Awesome.
name. No one has to write it down.
No, I know.
No.
It's like everybody's like, how do you say that? Like, just Monique is fine. I always like, don't even worry about it. It's
Yeah.
first name for me.
Well, thank
Perfect.
you so much for joining us today. We had a blast.
Awesome. You too. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. See you, Monique.
Bye.
Well, loved having Monique on the podcast. I feel like we've all been through that kind of spiritual ascension path that she was talking about. What do you guys think?
Definitely.
For
Yes.
sure.
It's
I
such a-
also feel like it's an ever evolving journey. Like, I don't know, like once you open your mind to it, it doesn't necessarily end. It
Mhm.
just keeps going and going and going
and going
and going.
Yeah,
There's
and I
still
also-
Energizer Bunny.
Yes, seriously. I also think that it's so cool how many different modalities were talked about. I don't think it really matters, right? What you're using, just that
Yeah.
you're doing the work and
Yeah.
you're
You find one that resonates with you. And yeah, I know. I even was thinking about that from the sense of the three of us
Mhm.
and the different modalities that the three of us have used to kind of work through some of that stuff
yeah.
and that life has given us. And I think there's some crossover between the three of us, but there's also like what maybe gave me a breakthrough is not what gave Jade a breakthrough, or what gave Jade a breakthrough maybe isn't what gave Cass a breakthrough. Like, we've each had our own moments in our own particular ways that we've been like, oh, aha, finally,
Mhm.
or like, yes, got that cleared out, on to the next one. So I think I am glad that she was able to figure out, sounds like recently, what worked for her, and that she continues down her journey. So
Perfectly said.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's pretty much it for the day, guys.
Yeah, I feel like all the words have been said. I don't know that there's any left to be said, but
The only thing that I'm
I
gonna do is just give a shout out to my back area. It is not a picture of Jade and Kaylin. It is an actual backdrop. There's the
It
banner.
looks like a
green
fake
screen.
background.
yeah,
Mhm.
legit beautiful. Well, I'm looking forward to the next time we all chat.
See you guys later.